one of the things that usually pops out whenever we do made-to-measure bikes, especially customized bikes, is we call it toe overlap. Have you heard of toe overlap?
Yeah.
What's toe overlap? What's toe overlap? It's when your toes touch the front wheel.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so one of the discussions that I always get whenever there are people requesting for a made-to-measure geometry is toe overlap. They always ask, Coach, will there be toe overlap? So we wanted just to tell our friends that toe overlap is normal, especially for small bikes. I mean, this bike, what's the size of your bike? 46. So there will be toe overlap when you're cornering. Your shoes would touch. Okay. What's your height?
170.
170 centimeters. So you're tall, but the bike is short. So naturally, there will be toe overlap. A lot of our newbies are very scared of toe overlap. And whenever we make custom geometry, people tend to always get nervous about this. So instead of me explaining everything, we're going to take a cue from our friend from YouTube to explain further what toe overlap is and how normal it is. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you some techniques how we can ride around tight corners without touching your foot. It's a skill. Remember the day when you first tried your clipless pedals? They said it was dangerous. And then next thing you know, it became natural reflex, okay? So toe overlap is very normal, but it's a skill that you can learn. And through time, it becomes second nature and you don't even have to think about it, okay?
Is it common for your shoes to rub on your wheels when you're turning sharply? If so, do you try and mitigate this, or do you just live with it and make sure your pedals are down in tight corners? Okay, a couple of questions here.
I've got a couple of big things
Is
to say
it
on this.
common? On smaller sized bikes, yes, it can be common. And it's also starting to become more common on gravel bikes because of the big, massive, chunky tyres.
Yeah. So there's
You
two
go.
things that cause this, right?
Yeah.
One is bikes wanting more nimble handling, and so you reduce what's known as the front center of the
Yeah.
bike. So typically the rake of the fork has been angled back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And the head tube angle and things like that. And this can help a bike feel more agile. So that's the first thing. The next thing is people riding a smaller sized bike.
Yeah.
Because when you ride a smaller sized bike, say like if you're between two sizes, like me, typically between a 56 and a 58 centimeter frame, I'm more likely to get this on the smaller one.
Yeah.
The other thing that causes this is a bike fitting thing. Now, there are kind of two schools of thought within bike fitting, broadly speaking.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say about this?
Yeah, go on.
Now, Phil Burt's bike philosophy often revolves around bringing the rider forwards, like shorter cranks,
Yeah.
opening your hip angle, having, say, less layback on the saddle, bringing you more forwards over
Yeah.
the front of the bike into more of like a sort of pursuit aero position. And as part of that, he often endorses, and this whole bike fitting philosophy endorses more of like a mid-foot cleat. But in positioning someone on a mid-foot cleat,
Your foot's coming forward.
the foot comes forwards on the pedal and is more likely to hit that tire.
Yeah.
Whereas the important thing to realise is that's like, whereas a more sort of long-standing view of like optimum bike ergonomics
Yeah.
and fitting is having your cleat further forwards underneath the sort of ball of your foot, where you imagine you push off if you're sprinting,
Yeah.
and that then it reduces that problem because you don't have your toes then clipping the front wheel.
Yeah. Now, this is actually a problem I have on a couple of bikes at the moment, and it really only presents itself on slow speed turning, be that if you're in a city area and you're trying to turn through tight little streets, but also in terms of what you can do to mitigate this. So if your shoe is only just clipping the tyre, I really don't think you should be worrying about it, and it's just a case of just being mindful of it. And when you are riding at those low speeds, just try to keep your cranks up and down in that vertical position. There you go, pretty simple.
Right, Leonard, I don't know what size bike you're riding, but this is a problem which tends to affect riders using a smaller size frame than anyone else. But it can happen, in fact, to everybody out there.
Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly free bird? Yeah.
If you're turning a larger radius with your handlebars, which is not something we do that commonly. So you don't tend to really ride like this. You tend to just lean when you're cornering a lot. And yeah, I reckon on my own bike, if I was to try and do a 180 very slowly, I would probably end up actually touching the tyre with the front of my cycling shoe. But also, something to consider here is, does it actually happen that much when you're riding along? If it's only when you're doing one of those big old turns, don't worry about it too much, just actually be aware of it.
Like an overlap for bikes, this is how you pedal. So I'm gonna ride around in circles and you will see I'm gonna go around in circles. So try to just bend. So if you notice, there's no touching of the foot. So when you're turning left, make sure that you angle. Let's do that one more with a tighter circle. For example, I'm gonna do this. So if you notice, my not touching anymore. So if you wanna ride in traffic, make sure that you bend and flex your ankles. No problems with no problems. Okay.
And also something to be aware of is how far forward or back your cleats are on your shoe. So if they're quite far back on the sole, that's going to give you a bigger toe overlap than if they were in the center or central of the mounting bolts or really far forward on them. So just think about that as well. Hopefully though, you're not going to be plagued with that problem when you're actually riding along.
Thank you. Oh.